So we now have Tricia Williams, who's the managing partner and client success leader at geekspeak Commerce. Tricia's primary role is ensuring that her team delivers excellent quality with every client engagement and really understanding a brand's voice. She's worked very closely with some of the world's most recognizable brands, including Walmart, Honeywell, B&O, New Balance, and Canadian Tire, to help build their e-commerce presence. So today it looks like you'll be talking to us a bit about driving digital channel growth, how retailers and CPG brands are leveraging enriched product content for better customer experiences and higher sales. So we were just talking with the previous speaker about content and content being king. So looking forward to your session. So I'm not sure if you may have frozen there, Tricia. Are you with us? I think we may have lost Tricia there, so we'll just give it another minute or so to see if we can get Tricia back up online. Okay, so it looks like Tricia's just logged out and logged back in, so that hopefully we'll be able to view her presentation and see her. So please bear with us now.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hey, we've got you back on now.
Okay, great. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
And can you see my screen?
No, we can't see your screen just yet. Have you started sharing it?
Okay, let me just do that right now. How's that?
Perfect. Look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, super. Sorry about the technical difficulties here. It seems I've run into a bit of trouble too. So if at any time, Sarah, you lose me, please just send me a message, let me know. But I'll kick things off. And thank you so much for that introduction. It's great to be here, and it's great to be a sponsor of the summer. We're really excited about it. So I think I'll kick things off by telling you a bit about myself as well as geekspeak Commerce. Our agency was actually founded in 2003. It started off as a boutique marketing agency with a focus on technical writing, including user guides and manuals and so on, hence the name geekspeak, right? So product documentation actually led us to product description writing. And as a result, around about 2010, shortly after I joined, we decided to focus solely on e-commerce content, really helping our clients to sell more online. I should let you know that we are a Canadian company, so we understand the landscape, we know the players, and we also know all about the challenges. We're based in Whitby, Ontario, which is just about 45 minutes east of Toronto. For those of you who are familiar with the GTA. I'm actually in our buy box in Whitby, which is a small meeting room that we have in our office. It's a little nod to Amazon. So I'm in the buy box, so hopefully you can hear me okay. So I'm going to get into a bit about geekspeak. We think that this infographic does a pretty good job of illustrating where geekspeak fits in the e-commerce ecosystem. So we work with brands, distributors, retailers, and have close relationships with several marketplaces, including Amazon. Below is a list of our core services that include product data, enrichment, and syndication. And we're able to jump in wherever our clients need assistance, or we can help them from end to end through our managed services offering. And below that, you'll see a short list of some of our clients. And as you can see, we've had the great privilege of working with some fantastic brands over the years. So we definitely understand the many challenges faced by retailers and brands alike, and we're here to help. So let's get into it. This is the agenda for today as we discuss driving the digital channel growth. we'd like to take a look at the e-commerce landscape in Canada today. And I know that a few of the presenters have already presented quite a few statistics. I'll try to be light on the data, but do want to start building that foundation of information. Then we'll get into examining what we mean by enriched content. We'll discuss how brands and retailers can get there, how they can create enriched content that tells their brand and product story while driving conversion. And hopefully at the end of the session, we can take up some questions as well. So let's take a look at what's going on in Canada specifically. One benefit of the growth that we're experiencing right now in e-commerce is actually being able to get access to more information that includes studies and surveys in Canada. And I'll be leveraging some of that information from a number of studies and reports, but I'll also be sharing some of my insights from being on the front lines, working with a variety of our clients who are retailers or brands across a range of categories. So let's take a look here. If we look at the e-commerce trajectory in Canada, in 2019, total retail sales grew by just a paltry 1.6%, with e-commerce contributing 6.8% of those sales. But for 2020, as we've already heard, there's been a lot of growth. Prior to COVID-19, e-commerce was estimated to grow to 7.7% of total retail sales in Canada. And the conservative revision now is around 8.7% of total retail, representing growth of 20.7%. And this is for the entire year of 2020. By contrast, retail sales overall are expected to shrink by 6.2%. All right, now that we know that e-commerce is important and a growing channel, if we didn't already know that going into this session, what does that actually look like on the ground right now? I think COVID has certainly thrown a few wrenches into the system, but it's actually forced those of us who work in e-commerce to grow up a little bit faster and to innovate a little bit more and truly to test the limits of our systems, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? There are a variety of factors being considered when consumers are deciding where to shop, but two factors that have emerged at the top of the list right now are availability and convenience. And so shoppers are weighing a number of options. So assuming I have a car and depending on the products that I need, do I want to go to a superstore that has click and collect available? Or do I opt for curbside pickup from Staples or Canadian Tire? Again, depending on what I'm looking for to purchase. Or do I want to purchase from Walmart or Voila and have my groceries or items delivered straight to my door? All of these options require some forward thinking. When you receive your purchases will depend on the retailer's schedule for pickups or deliveries. And that would mean that I would have to be pretty organized, right? Plan ahead, ordering what I need days in advance and fitting into available time slots, which in some cases may be a few days out. Or maybe I'm not that organized, or I've forgotten a few items that I need on the same day. So maybe Instacart or Uber Eats may be the option for me. So if I'm a retailer right now, it may be a good idea to diversify fulfillment options. Consider partnering with on-demand delivery services if you haven't already. And I'm not sure how many of you have noticed, but Uber Eats is growing its list of partners pretty quickly. And that includes the likes of Walmart, Metro, Costco, with and without a membership, Canadian Tire, and even H&M. So if I had my eye on a sweater today, I could get that delivered to my door within 2 hours. So they say it takes something like 21 days for a habit to form, right? Well, the lockdown has extended well beyond that. In fact, we're in and around 210 days. So we've had plenty of time to form some shopping habits that I think will linger well beyond stores opening fully back up. So I think it's fair to say that some of our current online shopping habits will likely have a residual effect. And so retailers and brands alike really have to look at these fulfillment options beyond the pandemic. So let's take a look at some more consumer behavior, going mobile, or should I say maybe gone mobile. We've known this for quite a while now. It's estimated that 54% of e-commerce sales will take place from a mobile device by 2021. And again, some sources actually have that number a lot higher. So this is another factor to consider when merchandising your products online. Gen Z and some millennials have grown up with a smartphone in the palm of their hand, right? So speaking of Gen Z, they're coming of age. And so we really need to pay attention to this group. PwC conducted a survey recently across 27 countries in the world that included over 19,000 respondents, where they tracked consumer behavior before the pandemic and during. Canada was one of the countries examined, with a particular focus on city centers in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. We'll take a look at some of their findings over the next few slides. But first off, just to get the definitions out of the way, when we say Gen Z, it includes the age range of 8 to 23 years old, but for the purposes of the survey, we're looking at the adult Gen Zs. So that would be ages 18 to 22. And boomers are in the range of 55 to 74 years old. So let's take a look at the rise of the Gen Z. So while it's important to react to our current situation, given the various stages of reopening across the country and the world, it's also important to look further ahead as you build your e-commerce strategies. It's not just today, but what's happening in the future. We need to start paying attention to younger consumers, as their shopping habits will play a really big role in shaping retail for years to come. And as you can see on the left-hand side of this slide, Gen Z is far more comfortable than boomers in buying food online. Almost 35% versus 10% of boomers. And this includes grocery items, meal kits, as well as takeout. And when it comes to delivery times, 68% of Gen Z respondents expect to receive their purchases within 24 hours if they happen to pay for delivery, versus 35% of boomers who seem to be a little bit more patient. Another factor of note here is the idea of micro trips. So very quick trips to the store that last less than 10 minutes. Millennials and Gen Z alike like these quick trips to the grocery store, looking for fresh products, specific recipe ingredients, and ready-to-eat items. So these micro trips could potentially be replaced with heavier use of on-demand delivery services like Instacart and Uber Eats. And so what does this offering look like in the future? Do we need to widen our assortment? I'm going to hedge my bets on yes, we should. Let's take another look at some folks who are working from home. Probably many of you attending this summit are doing so from home. And a lot of companies haven't even announced return to office dates simply because the state of the world is still very much in flux. As more organizations settle into new ways of working, there will be a significant implication for retail strategies given the link between work from home arrangements, right? Those who work from home tend to be younger and wealthier and more likely to have an Amazon Prime membership in the household. Shop for food in micro trips and be open to alternative fulfillment methods beyond home delivery. So really interesting. The one fact that really struck me is the fact that so many people working from home have Amazon Prime memberships. That's some serious penetration at 49%. So maybe this actually helps you to decide whether or not you list your brand on Amazon, or if you're already selling on Amazon, do you widen your assortment? 49% of people who work from home have also used online shopping as their primary channel for gift giving. With the holidays fast approaching, this may grow even more with COVID restrictions still in place. So in response, retailers will need to put more effort into online product discovery as e-commerce grows, adapt their product mix, and increase their assortment. Just a few more stats here. So Near the end of the survey, this question was asked as non-grocery stores started to reopen. Is shopping online easier than shopping in store? You'd think it should be, because you're literally, conducting that transaction from your smartphone or your laptop. What's alarming is that only 7% agree that shopping for groceries online is easier. In fact, many respondents in this survey cited poor experiences. By contrast, in the case of non-grocery shopping, 21% believe that the shopping experience is better. That's 3 times as much as grocery shopping. But in fairness, the grocery category is still very, very young in Canada. I'm sure we've all purchased electronics, books, or apparel long before we even thought of, maybe buying bread or milk online. Retailers and brands selling outside of the grocery category have considerably more experience in the e-commerce game. So it's really important to look at what's happening in other retail categories. How are products being merchandised? What does good look like in those other categories? So what do we do about all this information? We've looked at the e-commerce landscape in Canada, discussed the impact of COVID, and looked at consumer trends. So what should we do about it? There are a lot of touch points for improvement, but today we're going to focus on merchandising on the digital shelf. Enriched content, what is it? It's ultimately all about the customer experience. It's where shoppers interact with your brand and products really close up. It's where I decide if what you've told me about your brand and products on TV, commercials, and social media actually lines up with the product I'm looking at to add to cart, right? Enriched content is product content that goes well beyond basic product specifications. And it includes your brand story, beautiful, vibrant product images, videos, 360 images, really robust product descriptions that effectively describe all those features and benefits, and answers questions that shoppers may have. They may answer questions that shoppers didn't even realize they had. Enhanced marketing content like Amazon A+ is a great way to continue telling your story, all about your brand. Relate content that shoppers will find useful and trigger ideas, whether they're recipes or how-to guides. So some important considerations that really help to shape enriched content. First off is your audience, right? Understanding your audience helps you to shape the language and the tone that you use in your enriched product content. Everything from the actual words selected to weave into your narrative helps to bring your brand to life and really adds to its authenticity. For example, if you're selling vitamins aimed at an older generation of shoppers, your content should relate to their everyday lives and the reason for adding vitamins into their daily routine, right? And then also your branding. Your overall branding and marketing should influence your enriched product content as well. It's important to deliver a consistent message from medium to medium, whether it's on TV, social, or on your storefront on Amazon. If messaging is disjointed, shoppers will pick up on that. A customer may become confused or maybe even assume that your listing isn't authentic. It might even be counterfeit. So it's critical that all of these creative teams in your company, from advertising to social media to e-commerce, work together to build a really cohesive message around the brand. This is what consumers are looking for. And then lastly, your brick and mortar footprint, if that's applicable to you. Not everybody actually sells in brick and mortar stores. They only sell online. But that sense of cohesiveness relates to physical versus online stores as well. Now more than ever, it's really important to meet or exceed that in-store experience. Since shoppers may not have that same access to products in stores like they used to. So enriched content really helps a shopper become knowledgeable about a product without ever needing to touch it or feel it. A product display page should feel like a store shelf with the product well laid out, information clearly presented, and imagery that's enticing and really eye-catching. So this is all good, right? But why should you care? Well, I think the answer is pretty simple, and it's written there 3 times. Conversion, conversion, conversion. Better product content can increase conversion by up to 25%. Customizing your product content with images leads to 7 times higher conversion rate. Product video can increase conversion by up to 80%. Conversion rates can increase between 10 and 40% with 360 images. And I think you could probably even take some of these stats and apply it to how you consume information when you're shopping online. So let's take a look beyond the numbers, all those statistics, right? Ensuring your product content is consistent with your branding across other channels leads to better brand recognition and an understanding of your brand story and its values. There should be cohesion between TV, social media, and your listings, as I've said a couple of times now, so that's a really key point. Having well-written product descriptions plus great visuals help to shape a positive shopping experience, which in turn drives customer loyalty. Online shoppers want to return to e-commerce stores that provide an easy and an enjoyable experience for them. Ensuring that your product information is accurate and complete can lead to fewer returns or negative reviews, right? Because shoppers know right up front what to expect from your brand and from your product. Engaging product content also allows you to fill in any gaps in information that consumer may have. And I know I'm running a little bit short on time, so I'm going to try to pick up the pace here a little bit. I'm going to flip through some great examples of enriched content out there in the wild. Here's a fantastic example of a really robust product description. Lots of content there describing the features and benefits of the product. Here's another great example. This is probably one of the oldest brands out there and products in the market, Campbell's Tomato Soup, but somehow they've managed to bring it to life. Really bold images, and they've even reminded us about that perfect pairing of tomato soup and grilled cheese. Here's a look at some content, some enriched content provided by a retailer, and this example is from Sobeys, right? They're adding a lot of great content that would be useful to shoppers. It's not product at the product level, but it's supporting content. Access to great recipes or even information about spices, what they are and how to use them, what kind of flavors. Another example, this is a KitchenAid mixer that includes some hotspots with some call outs for your features and benefits. This isn't CPG, but maybe this could be applied to some of your products, right? Perhaps not exactly like this, but if it were tweaked. Look at some infographics. These are great for mobile, conveys a lot of information, really colorful, jumps out on the page, brings those features and benefits to life, and really drives conversion. Same deal here, some more examples of infographics, really highlights those benefits very quickly for the shopper. Cashi's done a great job being consistent with their color palette across all their media. And they're really doing a great job of selling that healthy lifestyle and healthy eating. Quick look at some A+ content. On the left-hand side is an A+ page for Lundberg, which is rice. And who knew there was this much to say about rice? But they've done a great job of telling their brand story. It's a family farm. It's been in business since 1937, and they've called out some great benefits. The same idea applies to the apple cider gummies in the middle there. And on the right-hand side is an example of an Amazon storefront that is showcasing a wide range of products available under the Aria Star brand. So how do we get there? And I'm going to try to motor through this, guys. First off, it's all about the team, right? Everything starts there. In order to start developing and deploying enriched product content, you really need the right team in place to do so. How are the various teams within your organization working together to create cohesive marketing, a cohesive marketing strategy that actually includes e-commerce and isn't an afterthought. And do these teams have the knowledge and know-how to create quality product content that actually converts? It's probably equal parts technical and equal parts creative. If the answer is no, are you willing to partner with an agency or consultant to do this? And remember, it's also quite unlikely to have a single person in your organization with all the know-how or the capacity to execute on all the elements of enriched content. So you can definitely look internally or work with an external agency. So once you've got the team in place, it's time to take a look at your existing assets or start developing new components to drive that enriched content. Looking for the right images, videos, graphics, and stories that will really help to shape your brand's narrative. Having all of these elements in place helps your listing to clearly articulate what the product is, what it does, and what it looks like, and how to use it, and why it's right for the customer. So quite honestly, most brands actually have a lot of great assets from their website or social channels. So maybe those could be repurposed or tweaked for e-commerce. Then technology. See how you can leverage technology to help with the creation and syndication of enriched product content. There are tools available for anything from team collaboration to customer relationship management to product information management and digital asset management. Technology can really make your workflow more efficient and cohesive between teams. And finally, once you have your team in place, your assets created and housed somewhere, and any technology that will help to bring it all together, your new e-commerce process should reflect this, right? So first off, audit your existing team. Who's on the team? What are their skill sets? Audit your assets. Take a look at the content that already exists. Identify those gaps. And audit your tools and processes. Then from there, start planning. Determine how you'll go about filling those gaps that you've identified now. Will you hire internally or will you seek help outside? And lastly, just take action. No one, believe me, no one, none of the brands, none of the retailers have it all figured out. But you do have to start somewhere. And it may be an idea to start small, even with a pilot project internally, or again with that outside agency, whatever works better for your brand. I think I managed to wrap things up, Sarah. That's the end. I'm actually going to turn it over to you. If there are any questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think a lot of great content about content from you. Yeah, it's really interesting to see how much you can really learn about a brand and then create that loyalty with them, isn't it? Once you've really seen the story behind what they do, and the business is how the business started. So thank you for that. We've got time for one quick question. And yeah, I thought this question around product reviews seems to be an interesting topic at the moment, given that people are, not quite sure always where the sources come from, whether they're reliable. So the question would be, what do you think are the top things to keep in mind for a brand when you're managing your reviews, given that some people are maybe losing trust in them now?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. And it's something that is really important because a lot of shoppers put a lot of stock into customer reviews. They're looking for that authentic opinion, right? So it's really helpful to monitor that. And I know Amazon did a decent job of trying to clean up some of those fake reviews, but it's still there. It's still prevalent. The good news is I think a lot of shoppers have actually become more savvy and they're able to filter out some of those fake reviews. They can identify it.
Right.
What's really good is, when shoppers actually post images and have very detailed information, that's a good way to filter through some of those reviews. But yeah, it's a great way for brands to keep an eye on what's going on with the product. It's also a great way to address any issues in the product development itself, or to improve your product listing to answer any questions or concerns that shoppers may have.
Oh, that's some really good tips. Thank you. I know we're over, but there's one more question. So if we could get a very quick answer from you on this, which tools could be leveraged to measure KPIs for content optimization?
This is the question that everybody in this business loves, right? We need to be able to measure success. And honestly, there are certainly some measurements out there. There are tools, but it's also very challenging to attribute conversions directly to specific activities. So I think we would all agree. I mean, we've heard it over and over that really investing in your content really drives organic traffic as well as conversion. You'll start to see it in your sales. You'll start to see it in your click-throughs. Depending on which tools you're using, you might even be able to see that in the amount of time spent on page, right? So you'll be able to pick up on some of those things. And unfortunately, some retailers that we work with don't necessarily provide you with that transparency either. So those KPIs may be maybe a little bit indirect, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for anyone that's interested in learning more about content optimization, geekspeak are one of our key sponsors of the day today. So please feel free to reach out to Tricia and the team. You can do so by clicking on the sponsorship section on the menu, check out their virtual booth, and feel free to post any more questions or comments that you have to them directly there. So thank you so much for your time, Tricia. Really great to hear from you, and enjoy the rest of the summer.
You bet. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.